Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lavender Water Podcast. I am your host, Matthew Wing, and today I am being joined by a very special guest. He is a good friend of mine musically. He is a spiritual brother of mine. He's a fashion icon. He's a rapper. He's a songwriter. He's an ex-podcast host. And he's just all around that guy. Everyone give it up for Donzel Bailey, a.k.a. God Dude.
You out here saying governments, dog. I got to text you now. We texting you about a minute now, dog. What's up, Mrs.?
What's going on with it? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I had to run a few errands and all that earlier, but we back. We in the house, you know what I'm saying? Got the incense burning, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature.
Yes, sir. You gotta stay tapped in. Gotta keep that aura and that spirit clean.
Yeah, I like the spiritual brother. That's probably the most prolific accolade right there as far as our relationship, because it's definitely bigger than music, especially at this point. Like, motherfuckers ain't been tapped in on that level in a minute. So, you know, definitely on some spiritual stuff. I ain't been able to talk to Miz in about some years, probably about like 3 years at this point.
Man, I feel like it's like 4 years at this point.
It might be 4. You know, the years just be happening, bro. I don't really know what's going on. But, yeah, it's been some time, dog. Glad to hear your voice, man.
Hey, man, good to hear from you. Yeah, a lot has changed since, like, 2018. I left Cincinnati. You got married.
Yes, sir.
You know,
I actually got married 2019, so it was a little bit after you fled the city. And
hey, you know, congratulations, man. Congratulations. We promote love, relationships, marriage, healthy bonds. That's what we're all about here at Lavender Water Podcast.
You know, when you get married, or like get your stuff from like Hamilton County, they give you a pamphlet to show you how to really do this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying, make the compromise with your significant other and all that. And nice. I appreciate them for that. I didn't know they really was like, because, I you know, people kind of, they chuck that bookwork away and just keep it moving. But, yeah, it was some real stuff spoken in there. They tell you how to, you know what I'm saying, meet your person halfway and all that. So, you know, we stuck to the book.
Well, that's good, man. It's good to hear, man. Because, yeah, divorce rates are getting crazy. People throwing their relationships away. I ain't gonna say no names, but somebody I know, they got married. Huh?
You say you ain't saying no names.
Yeah, I ain't saying no names, but there's this couple that I know. They got married. It looked like they was a beautiful couple, and then they had a baby, and then they divorced like shortly after that. And it's like sad to see because it's like it's black love. You know what I'm saying? They're young. And it's like, damn, man, why I'm moving like that, man? Like, okay, but, you know, everybody ain't supposed to be together, things like that. Things happen.
No, for sure. And, like, I don't know, for me, like, it was always, like, it was never really my intention to, like, marry anybody per se. And I can say the same for my wife. Like, we got into it pretty much. It was more so, like, you know, we was hanging out a lot. But, like, you know, we was already kind of moving that way, so it only made sense to make it official. But a lot of people really, I think the main thing is they kind of jump into it expecting so much, and they set like a you know, not even really the crazy standard, but it's like they set one nonetheless, and then you can never really, I don't know, you can't really say what you're ready for because it hasn't happened, but like if you go into it expecting like this to be easy, you know what I'm saying, then it is what it is. Like you know what I'm saying, like I didn't really expect too much, but to like really have a good time, and like you know, I loved her super deeply. So you know what I'm saying, it just worked out. But I mean, everybody ain't got it synced up like that. But I just think really people expect a lot going into it, and like you know, certain demands can't be made, and it gets all you know. Even when children get brought into it, you know what I'm saying, like it definitely I couldn't imagine it, but you know, it's a tough call at that point. Like so. I don't know, man. Everybody got their thing. You know what I'm saying? If you're out there, you loving somebody, keep it rocking. Don't be stringing them along. You know what I'm saying? And then for them, they got to keep it 100 with you, too. So that's pretty much it.
100. You know, I think like the biggest hang up in the Western Hemisphere or culture is that like since so many experiences that you don't need to necessarily prep yourself for can be had. Like you can put a virtual reality helmet on and step into a football game, into a boxing ring. But it's like people easily be like, oh, in that situation, this is what I would have did, and it's like, you wouldn't even have had the culminations to make it in that situation. Like when people talk about the finals of a basketball game, be like, oh, he should have took that shot, he should have passed it, or he should have dunked it like this. And it's like, bro, you can't even go out there and dunk. Like, what you talking about? So
you can't even sit on the sideline. There be motherfuckers in the nosebleeds talking about what they would have done, dog. It's not like that, bro. You ain't built like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't like to really speak on stuff that I haven't really like experienced firsthand. Like, and I mean, we all got our time. We're like, I would have done it this way, but I've come to realize, man, everybody, and I mean everybody. I don't care how long you done like came up with them. Everybody has a different experience, some kind of way. Like, you could be from the same neighborhood as somebody, but your household is gonna be different from theirs. So you can't ever pinpoint watch somebody do something. It's not going to be that. So, yeah, all the motherfuckers in the nosebleeds talking about what play they would have ran, shut y'all ass up. Because y'all wouldn't have, It wouldn't have happened that way. Yeah, bro. But, I mean, most importantly, like, I don't know. I don't like to speak on even celeb stuff. Like, I feel like celebrities have stuff so skewed that, you know, they can't. It's hard to, like, snap back into, like, what you used to live like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, They may have a stance on something, or, you know, early in their career, before their career, you know, you get familiar with other, like, different surroundings, sometimes drastically fast, and, like, that is enough to sway your opinion on, you know, a certain stance that you had before, like, so it's all about experience, man. That's why I don't never like to really, even with, like, seeing what people do around me, like, I never really wanted to be on some, dang, this person got this, why my shit ain't hitting like this? Because, like I said, you can't pinpoint that. Like, I honestly don't even like to watch other people do that shit no more. Like, I used to get a kick out of it, and that was only because, like, by and large, I didn't have much going on, like, myself, so it was easy for me to watch other people fuck up, but you kind of get over that, man, and it's like, I don't even really see what everybody else on, because it's just the media and stuff has changed, all kind of weird stuff, man. I don't like to do it.
I feel you, man. I feel you. Yeah, number one thing, man, can't look over in anyone else's lane, can't cheat off somebody else's paper. It's different circumstances, you know what I'm saying? Everyone has a different relationship with the creator. Everyone has a different path in this world. It's like, so I'll disclose a little something. So my brother, he's trying to, like, start a Patreon to, like, get people into going into the IT field, which is what he's doing. And the way that he's presenting it, kind of like it's a scam. So, like, a lot of people that are, you know, the way that some people are looking at it is like, man, I don't trust that. So it's like him, it's like, man, it was actually legit. I'm doing it. And it's like, like, you know, I'm showing the money, and it's like, you know, everybody's not moved by the money. You know what I'm saying? It's like everyone got a different thing. You know what I'm saying? So the same tactics can't work for everybody. You know what I'm saying? To get you to do what you're trying to do. But it's like, you know, at the end of the day, everyone got their own different paths. Some people, you know, they're not gonna be rich and famous. Like, I mean, a lot of people are not gonna be rich and famous. A lot of people not gonna live the life that they truly desire. You know what I'm saying? But everyone's going to be on the path they're supposed to be on, you know, so according to the plan. So, you know, at the end of the day, it ain't about nothing but staying low and is laying low and staying up.
For sure. And, like, I don't know, like, we're susceptible to a lot of different, like, pieces of art in the media. Like, for instance, like, when I was, like, first doing music, I would spam the fuck out of people with my links just because I knew my shit was hard for that time, and, like, I had motherfuckers around me who was on the same shit, so it was like, why not? Like, people sleep on this. Even to this day, man, it's like, I don't think it's like a gram with, like, I don't know how people, like, how much people check up on stuff, because I think about certain artists, like, locally, you know what I'm saying, that I used to hear and like see all over the place, and like it's just like nothing now. Like that's kind of what it's been for me. Simply because like I really haven't been like that inspired, and I feel like a lot of people in our circle, not like our like immediate circle, but like just like other people that we've been like on shows with or like, you know, on bills with, like it seems like everybody trying to play catch up. And so looking at all that, it's like, you know, you kind of see what you don't want to do. And like I said, back then when I was spamming people with it, like it wasn't more so people like saying like, yo, stop hitting me with the shit. It was just for me, I was too, I guess like notice, like I was noticing too much. Like, man, I feel like I'm like pestering people, because when people did it to me, I felt the same way. I'm like, bro, I don't want to keep seeing this link pop up, bro. And so like, yo, brother, with the, you know, with the IT stuff, like people may see that and just be overwhelmed just because it's just another piece of media that's just out there. And I know how it is. Like, you trying to get somebody on this like some money shit, they try to hit you with, you know what I'm saying, this big chicken talk, man. What, you a bitch? You scared to keep this money? And it's like, not really. Like, I ain't now. Just like, I just have seen so much other stuff. Like, I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just hard to dip into something else. Something like that, especially like everybody pretty much is like kind of running around trying to figure it out. So it'd be tough to kind of get your media across. But that was kind of one of the things that I always like noticed, even when getting my brand across, is that I did not want to spam people with it. Like, if you got the link up and it sway you, you know what I'm saying, to go ahead and click that mug. If not, you want to keep scrolling, hey, by all means, you're a grown person, you do what you want to do. And I just ain't never want to put that pressure on people when it came to my craft. Like, if you notice it, you know what time it is. But I don't know, man. I for me, I don't like to see too many people like trying to get somebody on a whole new venture. And that's another thing. Like, IT is like such a integral like field that people might not it'll be overwhelming for them to look into it, dog. So I don't know.
It's not some shit you just casually pick up doing on a Saturday afternoon, like, oh yeah, I did it now.
Nah, but I feel like a lot of people, even now, like how the market is and how like just everything is set up, like I feel like it is some people not really more so desperate. They just feel like this is like the time for me to, you know, kind of whip my stuff into shape. Whatever I was doing back then wasn't working. I'm in this spot now. Like, why not, you know, take that risk? But I ain't never been put in that position to have to do nothing like that. So it's ebb and flows, man. I don't know. It's a tough thing to do. It's hard to put yourself out there and try to get subscribers and stuff like that. People who like really believe your mission, because like I said, everybody else comes from a different background somehow, like some variable there in some instance.
Right, and that's another aspect I was telling them was like, you know, the cliche thing where it's like, you know, your family, your friends, they're not going to be the people that make you rich or famous, you know what I'm saying, or whatever you're going for. It's the whole wide world. You know what I'm saying? There's 8 billion people out here, not the 30 people you know that you tapped in with, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, even looking at my clothing brand, it's like there's people from the 2019 launch who are like, oh, I'm about to shop real soon. Still haven't shopped real soon. But it's like, I can't hold it against them, you know what I'm saying? Like with the music was a little different. It was like, bro, you said you know me, man. You said you support me, and you not supporting me. You not sharing my mixtape.
You know what I'm saying? Bro. Yeah.
So it's like the clothing, marketing and clothing has kind of taught me the patience of like everybody doesn't need clothes every day. And then especially the price point that I'm trying to sell the clothes, it's like, oh yeah, you definitely not about to get a high turnover right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to me, it's understanding that I got to build it. I got to build it and I got to build it. And then when the right people see it, it's just going to be automatic.
Yep. Yeah, man. I never want to put myself in that position, like especially with music, because, you know, being in Cincy, there are a lot of people who have never seen that, like, that next step. Like, we don't really have a big musical following other than, like, you know, anything like G-Funk related, like George, like not George Clinton, but like Bootsy Collins and, like, you know, Ozzy Brothers and all that. And, like, that's, like, so far beyond our time. So, like, we haven't really seen the next person pop off like that. And if they have, it's been for like a hot second or something like something ridiculously viral. But people love to like look for validation and like they know you on like a personal level. And when the links pop up and like, you know, you just happen, like I said, we see a lot of that stuff pop up. Sometimes it just, we miss it. But I've seen a lot of artists like kind of go on the tangent and just like, you know what I'm saying, they either like, you know, have a little something on the side they hit you up about, and like whatever that custom is, you know, that speaks to you more than their music stuff. Because it's not a necessity thing. We got so many artists out here in this time. It's like, it's not really a matter of necessity. Like everybody damn near make music.
Right.
So if you got this on the side and it's speaking to me more, don't chastise me because I'm not supporting the music as well. Like, I don't have to support every line of it. That's for other. If people are interested in that, let them do that. And like, I just never want to be put in a position where like, oh man, they messing with this person. Why they ain't looking at me? Like, because it's like, you just can't do that. Like, I can't stress enough. Everybody come for something different. Like, you can't do that. You gotta just let the universe take that and do what they want with it. But yeah, I don't get anything out of like, you know, being kind of like jealous of whatever somebody else doing, just because I don't know. It's been plenty of times where like I realized that only person holding me back is me myself. Like I know I'd be slacking. Like it is what it is. If you're not inspired by this shit, it is what it is. Like you bigger than the artist, you know, that's your MO. But I never ever want to just be on some like, I need this from these people. Name it. They support me, then fuck them. Like I had people on Twitter, Mr. Like not to go all over the place, but even when something is like as crazy as like my Twitter like presence, like I've in the past said, you know, the most wildest stuff. Like people used to think I was a bot on there just because of the shit I was putting out there, and it was just like, you know, you don't really think about, you know, not really consumer, but the people like witnessing it. And like I remember like a friend of mine like stopping me in the street and just have like feeling inclined to speak on why he like unfollowed me on Twitter. And for me, that didn't really matter. Like I know my shit is dead. Like it was pretty much like I was saying some wild shit on there, and bro was just like, "Oh yeah, man, like this is too much for me." But like we were still able to have that conversation in real life, to where it wasn't like I even now, like I'm like, I know motherfuckers on here either at the very least got me muted or they just straight up and follow me. But it's like that isn't like who I am. Like Twitter is literally just a platform for people to do whatever, pretty much whatever the fuck they want on it. And you know, when he like gave me that conversation on the street, I was just like, bro, we sitting here talking as friends right now. Like I wouldn't give a damn if you follow me on Twitter. Like I appreciate you, you know, going far enough to tell me why. And that's because he's probably dealt with people in the past who really hold that and just let it like deter their relationship. Like something as crazy as Twitter will like make them, you know, fall out with that person. But me, it just wasn't that serious to me. So I definitely appreciated, you know, like him telling me that. And that's another thing. Like people won't really call you out of your shit as much as you like really need them to. Like people will just embrace your bullshit. And that was kind of one of them times where he like, you know, kind of let me know like, hey, your shit do be getting kind of out of hand. And it is what it is. That's not the only way to get to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? It is literally just Twitter. So like, I want people to like, if they do hear the Lavender Water podcast with God Dude and Matthew Williams, I do want them to like understand that, you know, there's more ways for people to like understand you yourself than like social media. Like people have become so hung up on like their presence online that like they fuck up real stuff with real people. And like I never wanted to get to that point, because like I'm always cherish, you know, real relationships with people I know. You know what I'm saying? But people don't really think about how they like kind of saturate they brand, or like just kind of, I don't know, like kind of skew their purpose for what they do.
So it's funny you said that, because like about 2019, I had an artist friend. She was telling me She was like, yeah, I like the art that you do, but like your presence online ruins everything. Like you need PR. You can't be the one advertising your own stuff. Like what you at first I'm like, what you mean? What you talking about, man? I'm me.
Yeah.
But it's like when I realized, like, yeah, I am really abrasive, especially after the Emmy award winning podcast episode we did with Harry a couple years back.
Yeah.
Really analyzing, like, you know, what I'm putting out there, you know what I'm saying? Not just in real life, the internet, you know what I'm saying, but spiritually, you know what I'm saying? Because to come back, you know what I'm saying, make you think, you know what I'm saying? I had grown men cry about the things that I said on the internet, you know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, it's pretty heavy. So, you know what I'm saying, really been working on redirecting the energy and then knowing the appropriate places to put it. So it's like also going into how you say, have people be like, you know what I'm saying, like, I might not like the music, which I'm noticing with all these personalities rising on the internet, they all TikTok and YouTube do, and they do the comedy, but they're also musicians, they also actors, they also whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's like to be behind the clothes, the podcast, the TikTok comedy videos, to be behind the music, the whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's all these different streamlines. So it's like, even if you don't like the music, there's going to be something that you rock with. You know, oh, I like that hat. I like that shirt. Oh, he funny. Or, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, now that I know how to spread it out, now it's like, okay, no matter what you consume it, and it's all me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm glad you brought up the, I guess, your presence more so on the book. That's another thing, too. I can't fuck with the book because, like, I feel like the audience on there, it's easy for people to be susceptible to, like, the wildest propaganda. And as my brother Mr. I definitely noticed that. And I feel like, you know, I didn't really do my due diligence as much as I think I did to, like, kind of tell you, like, hey, bro, like, you know, maybe you got to chill with this. It was at an age where we like, you know, bro, we had a lot of shit on our minds and we wanted to get it out there. And, like, people either respected us for it or, like, held us as pariahs. Not so much in my case. Like, I've never been, like, really in that realm. I think that was more so, like, more of a self, like, awareness type of thing. Like, I was, like, kind of, even, like, so going to the podcast, which the podcast you was referring to, ladies and gentlemen, is
we don't even live here.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
Which was the Breakfast Club of Cincinnati, by the way. Award-winning classic podcast.
No, we went to the Miz Awards. We had the Miz Award and all that, bro. Like, for me, I just like being in the circle of people who was doing, you know, artistic shit. A lot of it, you know what I'm saying, motherfuckers just rapping left and right. But it was cool to get, like, you know, actual, like, painters on there, like, you know, clothing designers, like, pretty much any avenue, like, wrestlers, like, it was, you know what I'm saying, like, it was cool. And then we would have those episodes with me and my former co-host. We would, you know what I'm saying, kind of take a moment to kind of, like, talk our own stuff on there, which, like, my co-host held those in high regard. I did, too. But I did realize, like, it was times where I was just saying, like, hot ass shit on there just to get, like, a reaction. I definitely was the comic relief of the platform, as well as, like, you know, I had my connections with certain people who did artistic stuff. But when it was time for me to, like, you know, get that shock value shit out there, like, I can't, you know, unfortunately can't go back and listen to the episodes now, a great majority of them, because they've been taken down by the calls. But I think about, like, stuff I said on there was like, man, I was, like, totally wrong. I was tripping. And it'd be, like, certain episodes, like, later on while I try to apologize for stuff I said, like, you know, earlier podcasts. Like, I just didn't want to find myself in that position pretty much anymore. So, like, you know, the likeness to Breakfast Club is, you know, I get it because it's more so, like, you know, they feature artists on there. And while they do that, they want to, like, get the most ridiculous, like, you know, output from that artist. And I felt a lot, like, some of those times, like, it would, I don't know. I feel like sometimes it would kind of, like, throw that featured guest off a little bit. And, like he had said before, like, it was definitely, you know, some people we didn't really need on the podcast. It was more so just, like, we wanted to get traction. And it was, definitely some duds in there, but some of them duds I think came from me just like kind of throwing it off, and like I feel like I was kind of misusing, like not to quote Kendrick, but I was kind of misusing my influence. You feel me? Like it was, I was like hearing stuff, and I'm like, if I really see these people, they gonna want me to be, kind of crazy like this all the time, and I don't know, it kind of got to me on that front. I didn't like really want to do that with my brand anymore because, we get crazy propaganda all over the place. You never know if somebody's serious or they, or just fucking around.
Right.
But that was like a big thing we also wanted to do, and there was like, open the panel for like real live discussion. And that episode with you and Harry Bird, like, I remember going into that being kind of nerve-wracking because I'm like, yeah, Mizza is saying hot shit on the platform, but if we do give him this little, like, and it was both for the homies, too, that was, like, not really at odds, but, like, Harry Bird had to call you out on your shit. So it was definitely two of the homies, and we knew it wasn't going to get, like, out of hand. It ended up being a cool discussion, two relatively cool heads, like, going, just going in, and I'm glad I was able to facilitate it, along with my former co-host. But I liked episodes like that where it was like, we got a different aspect of stuff just besides, like, art and stuff like that. Because people can talk about what they do left and right, like, it is what it is. But when it's, like, a certain topic at hand and something, like, as crucial as, as that one, I felt like the show was, pretty much bigger on that front. Like, it was bigger than just, like, featuring art. Like, it's, like, real life discussions being had on there. So, like, I was happy to have that say in the media, but it was sometimes on there I was getting out of hand, bro. And I didn't, like I said, I'm a different person now than when I had the podcast. But I mean, it's just a part of growing. We're talking about like what, 5 years since the last episode ever took place. Like that's like a whole bunch of time. Like even the podcast wasn't even like established for that long. We had the podcast for like not even 3 years. I'm trying to think, because I think the first episode we did was like very bottom 2014, and then 2017 was it. So like I don't know. I had to like it was a mixture of that, and I also had a lot of other stuff like kind of going on as well. Like it's when the podcast ended, I was like 23. And I was, like, back on my music shit heavily, like, back then. Before I did the podcast, I was just doing, like, features and stuff for people, like, for homies, not charging for no features and all like that, but just kind of hopping on stuff just so my name could be out there, like, in the PDMG mansion, like, you know what I'm saying, cranking with them, all kind of shit. So, like, there was other ventures. My co-host, he was, wrestling like a motherfucker, doing shows. And we had a point where it was like, if you got all that going on, like, that's cool. We could take a hiatus. We did it before because we had to get new equipment. And I feel like us doing those episodes, we hit the ground running, and it kind of took a lot out of us. Like, we're talking about when we started out doing multiple episodes a week, and then, like, bringing it down to one episode a week. Some of the weeks, I'm like, bro, like, it would be good to take a little break because we got to each find, like, these guests and people fold, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got their schedules or whatever. But sometimes people fold and be like, man, it'd be nice, like, weekly not to have, like, the stress of, like, trying to come up with an episode. Like, you was on the show. I'm pretty sure you was on there more than anybody that we know on there. Like, and, like, rightfully so. Like, you're, like, one of the first, like, supporters we've had, like. And so for me, it was just, I always was excited for it, but like I just didn't want to also fall into the realm of, they always just putting their homies on, because it's easy for motherfuckers, especially in Cincinnati, to see this like, oh yeah, it's some cliquey shit going on. They motherfuckers over here dick riding, and it's like, bro, you may see it that way, but honestly, bro, we it's hard for us to get together. So if you want to visit this motherfucker, I'm sorry, like I don't. Like, and the thing is, like, another thing with, like, you being on the show, it hasn't been just, like, you on there just saying your shit. Like, it's always been kind of a different dynamic. For instance, the episode with you and Sheldon Belcher. Shout out Sheldon Belcher.
Shout out Sheldon.
Shouts out to Sheldon, man. Like one of those people who, if I see him, it's always love. Like even if it's like a little, like I'm a little small talk, like he always make it count. And I was so happy, dog, because like at that point we was doing so many fucking shows, and I was kind of getting numb to like, man, I'm kind of sick of hearing motherfuckers say the same thing, and like not to be vain enough, but I'm like, I wish these motherfuckers have some good shit to ask us. You feel me? Like we out here doing shit, like what I'm saying. Not that like it shouldn't really be about us, but like it gets to that point for me. So like when we had the episode when it was you and Sheldon, it was the Hio special, dog. Shouts out Hio. You know what I'm saying? Like still got the hat.
Shouts out Hio. Hey, appreciate you. The first brand before Once News.
We talking about like early shit, bro. Like literally, Matt and Sheldon was like, "Yo, how about we have an episode where we just interview y'all?" And I was already fucking with it from jump. I'm like, "Bruh, why the fuck not? Like we know both of y'all on some cool shit. If it gotta be to where like, we ended up like interviewing y'all, it didn't matter, but we all had that relationship with one another." But like that was one of those episodes. Like, damn, like shouts out to Miz enough for like, what I'm saying, trying to, shake it up, because it's tough, man. I don't understand like it wasn't like people was going on no press runs. It was literally a matter of like motherfuckers seeing us at shows being like, "Hey, bro, I know y'all got that podcast, man. Let me get on that." And like sometimes I wouldn't even know what the motherfuckers did. I'm just like, all right, like send me your stuff or whatever. And like, what I'm saying, we'll see what's up. But like I knew what y'all was on, and it was just a whole another dynamic, bro. Like motherfuckers getting interviewed on their old shows, like, it was different. So I appreciated that, but it was also a point where I was like, I just don't want to give Mizza all of that. I just knew motherfuckers out the wazoo who was doing that shit. So like I had to just like kind of let everybody, as many people as I could, get some, like especially with my co-host, like he had to do his thing too. So we got to that point where it was like, man, all right, these episodes is like kind of dragging sometimes. And then it was more of a personal thing, and so like why we had pretty much called it quits. But I did want to get this across because I felt like he didn't do the podcast like real like justice as far as like how he said when we went out. So we had 99 episodes, and I think the 100th one, if I'm not mistaken, you had asked like to kind of host it or like at least be a part of it. We wanted to have like kind of a more like panel set up, where because we did like on location shows and all that shit. Like, and I like the kind of the spontaneous nature of it because like it was like pretty much anybody can come up and say their shit and like keep moving. But this is more of like not even a showcase, like more of like a tangible manner of like experiencing a podcast, like literally us setting up at one of these little venues in the city and like having an audience, having multiple people featured like on the episode, but it just didn't come to fruition. And what he described it as was Icarus' wings. Like we got too far, like we got too close to the sun, all that. Like I 100% do not think that was the case. I think if anything, it was more of a Betty White thing where we gave all these motherfuckers what we could, and like just 100 didn't even have to come to fruition. Like it was just we could stop it at 99. Our last guest was Perez. Shouts Perez. Like
that you funny as fuck for that 99 boy right there. Hey,
what'd you say?
I said you funny as fuck for that Betty White 99 not make it to 100.
Bro, listen, hey. When she left, bro, I was at work. I remember like motherfuckers being just crazy, bro. Like motherfuckers in there announcing it like loudest, like you feel me? Like it was a real thing. And like we all wanted to make it to 100, but she given us so much up to that point. Like we had to just rock with it. Like, hey man, 99 good enough. Like it's still a notable number. Like, and I don't know. Sometimes you might fuck with these motherfuckers, but like. Not really. So they don't get 100 emoji. They just get a 99, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a little bit. Sounds a little bit of it. Just like, all right, you ain't all the way 100, but I respect it. I just don't. I don't want to like seem that like we was getting too big for our britches. Like we wasn't, as big as we should have been. And like for me, that was fine because we talking about, like I said, not even 3 whole years us doing this. Like I wouldn't have been able to, be accustomed to no crazy change. Like I was really like kind of excited to try to monetize it, but like whenever you include like involve money and everything, shit gets huge. Like, you know what I'm saying? The content kind of sway, all kind of weird stuff. So like I liked what we had, but it just happened that way. Like I was starting up doing shows at that point. Like I had the Falls Count Anywhere mixtape with Allen for President, like
which is a classic. Shouts out A4P.
Listen, man, always shouts out A4P, man. Like I don't like value too many people's opinion as much as I do you, as much as I do Allen. Like obviously my wife, like she gonna hold the most like prestige as far as like what the word is, but like it's like anytime I done went to y'all, it's always been organic. And A4P one of the people who just like gonna give you that regardless. And he was just starting out producing with that. So like, we were still experimenting, but even back then I could trust him enough with the little shit that we had that it was gonna be okay. We both was on the same shit. We was like, bro, like these motherfuckers, it's not crunk as hell no more. They not fucking up the clubs no more. You know what I'm saying? We can do that shit easy as hell, just fun as hell to do. Why not? And like, we was making them songs, man. Like that, like I don't know if you was in on some of them studio sessions.
I was not. I was part of the cabinet mixtape, the beat tape.
There we go.
Like, yeah, Alan brought in like the brigade. It was me, Terrence TP. It was Sleeve.
Sleeve. What else? Yeah, it was. Oh, it was Squad.
Yeah, you was there. D3 was there.
Bro, that was like the first time in years motherfuckers that got to see Michi Stacks. Shouts out Michi Stacks as well. It was, man, yeah, it was one of them.
Shouts out Michi Stacks, because Michi Stacks got me like my #1 song for like 2 years and running. Like, this shit crazy.
Yeah, for real?
Yeah, like we did this song, it's called Some Mo. And it's like, I'm not really on the song, but like every time I look at Apple Music, it's the #1 stream song every single week since we made it. That was like 4 years ago, actually.
Bro, that was a hot time, bro. I could go on for like a long time about 2018, man. That was like, damn, bro. That was like a year where I was like, bro, I have to have like at least one show every month, just because like I was doing so many of them. Mind you, when Falls Count Anywhere, when we put that out, I wasn't doing no type of shows, bro. I was like not even really showing up to nobody's shit, because like I feel like it was sort of a desolate time as far as like the scene. Like we was just now starting to like kind of get our shit together. Mind you, I like always known about like certain people who like did the shit since like maybe possibly 2011, just because like motherfuckers was at Elements and shit, and I could see like people coming in there. But when we talk about like motherfuckers really, really doing that shit, I feel like 2018 was that year where like everybody had to like, it was like go hard to go home. Like, you feel me? Like I'm talking about, I had a show September that year, because it was like the Mile High Congress. Shouts out to Mile High Vega and Coogee Warhol, my dogs. They had the
shouts out Mile High Congress.
Yeah, man, real some good dudes, man. Like I'm lucky to be tapped in with as many people as I have, like on the collaborative effort as far as music. Because I like with Falls Count Anywhere, I was just always like, I'm only trying to do PDMG shit. That's it. Like I already did features with people back then. I'm cool with this, but like I didn't really perform none of that stuff, and a lot of reasons was because like the main one for me was this ain't really music that I make. Like it was definitely fun, easy as hell to make. I never forget like us laying the vocals, like having to make like crowd chants, thinking of the chants to say, just trying to like protect the honor of Lil Jon's name, shit like that.
Right.
But it wasn't like my pure sound, and I was noticing like how the tide was changing. Like everybody not trying to really bust their head in the spot. It was just more of a nostalgia thing. But like I can do shit other than like just yelling. Like for what I believe, like I feel like I am a elite lyricist. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like to say these same shit on songs. It's just how I am. Like, I have to have like a crazy line, well, a bunch of crazy lines. But like the content got to change a little bit. Like each time, I got to make it count pretty much. And so it was one night, 2017. It's like leading up to the 2018 run, but like one night in 2017, it's like towards the end of the podcast. I like bumping. I'm like living near the Doty Fan studio. Shouts out Doty Fan.
Shouts out Doty.
Shouts out Doty, man. I'm telling you, man, like I'm gonna get you your money's worth today, cause like there's so many motherfuckers around me who like really was doing this shit and like made it fun to like exist in that environment. But Doty Fan was one of the people like we all knew like on some high school shit. Like some of us went to Walnut, some of us went to SCPA, all kind of shit. It was kind of well knit that way. And so it was to the point where like I could go and see like Big Tree and be like, yo, like we need to do these, like let's just do these songs, or like let's get them cranked out. And I had done maybe 5 songs one night, and I was like, you know what, no, this is cool. I got these. We wanted to make like a Doty Dude tape, but it just didn't happen because it was stuff going on with their group. But it was still like, I don't necessarily got to package this as like a body of work. I could just have these songs just perform. Like I'm able to do shows now. And like it was only a select few people that I was really doing shows for. Like I was, I'm pretty sure you had a few that I had to like, go on, like a few like big shows that I was on the book for, and even the little shows, like it didn't matter to me because like I just wanted that practice. Like there was a time where we was like doing sound check and shows, and then it got to a point where like motherfuckers was like showing up. It was times I was like coming straight off of work to pull up to the venue and do a show. Like I kept a little statue on me because I was A, either holding the fifth of liquor in that motherfucker, B, holding Fanene in that motherfucker, C, holding my work clothes in there, or D, all the above, bro. Like I had the bag on me, bro. So like it was a lot to try to like make it there, and like with that, people's set times go back. Shit gets out of whack, but like I was still happy enough to like do shows with people that I respected musically, and even if it was like 5 motherfuckers in the crowd, nobody in the crowd, like I was just happy to like get my shit off and test some, my breathing and how, what I'm saying, like get my vocals together. Like I remember to the point where I was able to like perform without vocals. Like that's when I was like, bro, like this shit is like sky's the limit for me. Like at this point, like motherfuckers ain't got to hear a track behind me and shit. Like that's cool to me.
Yes, sir.
So we did them songs, I was performing them, and one of the songs in particular was a song called Trisha Mackey. Trisha Mackey, and like I let the song just go ahead and die. Like I never really got my 100% out of it because of one, I wanted to do a video for it. It never happened. And 2, I remember one time I was like kind of teasing the release of the song because I recorded the song like a year before I actually put it out there, just because like it never sounded as clean as I needed to. I'm like on their heart, like singing and shit. I can't like sing worth a damn really. So like it was a lot of tweaking that had. We got like 4 different versions of that song just because like we had to tweak it so many times. But the one that ended up,
such a good song.
Listen, man, I was in like a crazy bag when I like thought of that concept. I was on acid when I thought of this shit. Trying to be on my chance to rapper and shit, but like it literally happened to where like me and my wife, we was on our very first like date, and we went to like the zoo, all kind of crazy shit. And then later that night, we ended up going to Cloud9 to get some sushi and shit. And they had it was Halloween today, 2017, and we had, it was like, I think, what happened now? Oh, Wendy Williams like fainted on her show. Like she had the little Statue of Liberty shit on, and she like fainted on the set. And so I remember like seeing that on acid, was like, yo, like that shit was real as hell. Like wow, like she really like, and like the next screen, it was like Trisha Mackey because it was on the news. And I was like looking at the screen, I'm like, man, this bitch been on the news like my whole entire fucking life. Like she's still doing this shit. And I was like, bro, like she gotta be known in the city. Like ain't no way you don't know who this is. Like as far as like, me, I'm always trying to channel Cincinnati in my shit as much as I can. So I'm like, bro, I have to make a song about news, niggas. Like, why not? Like, why not talk about the news? I was like, you feel me? I'm not watching the news much like you do. Like, ain't no reason to, but like, you know these motherfuckers for some aspect. So like, I was like, bro, I'm gonna do this shit. And like, literally, it was first verse was talking about like my origin into the world. Like, I like no bullshit, bro. Like, I was born on New Year's Day, and pretty much on the news, you know, if you're born on like a crazy day, they have like news coverage, like they're like, oh, this is the New Year's baby, this and the third. And like, I've never gotten to see footage to this day. I'm definitely like, there's sometimes I'll like try to contact them to get it, but my mother and dad, God rest his soul, they both like vouched and said, you know, this really happened. Like, they had Trisha Mackey come and like do the story on you being born on New Year's. So I was like, bro, like I kind of like not really a person. I have a connection with this woman somehow. So like we gotta do this shit. So the first verse is literally me talking about like, you know, that whole experience, and I don't know myself because I'm fucking not even 1 year old at this point. But yeah, like the second verse is like, bro, it's like all these other news people that I can like just do my lines about, like the hook slap, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was one of the things like I had to take my time with that shit. But it's still like just to lay the foundation. Like, it was easy as hell because I was like such a different bag. Like I said, when I do this shit, I want to make it count. Like, who else in the city is doing songs for fucking news people, bro? Like, nobody's doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Let alone how I'm doing it. And it got to a point where I was like, all right, like, now I really need to release this. And when it came time for me to promote it, you know, I'm like kind of tagging some of the you know, the newscasters in it. I'm not expecting them to like retweet it or nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's fucking rap music. It is what it is. I just wanted to like get it on the radar somehow. And when I went to Trisha Mackey herself, I noticed that I was blocked by her on Twitter. And I don't know what the hell happened, but it's just going back to my earlier point of me being on Twitter wilding, bro. Like, I was on there going crazy. I probably said something out of pocket. I don't know. I was like digging to look for it. I'm not sure. But either way, I was blocked by old girl. And like, she has like a reputation of being very like, you know, right wing. So like, it kind of was for the best. I don't really want to praise a person who like blatantly just like displays that about themselves. Like, they make stuff political. Like, it was just one of the things. Like, I honestly dodged a bullet. If people like the song, cool. I like the experience like behind making it. But I was told many times, like, man, like, you have to get your all out of this song. Like, this is one of a kind. Like, and it just didn't happen that way for me. Like, I just was not inspired at that point to like keep on like milking that song. So I had to like do little stuff like after that. But like, that was literally maybe the last release I had on my platforms. Plus I was only using SoundCloud too, bro. Like, that was literally it. So that was like the last thing I released on my own on there. Like, I just like kept it moving, but I was still like doing stuff around that. Like, even God rest his soul, Insomniac Soul, the Tim G, aka So Images, aka, you know, So Visuals. I was tapped in with a lot of people from like that camp back in 2019. 2018, 2019, kind of like that, like around that time. And I was recording a song called Apollo 13, who's Bojack. He was the one who produced that. Mind you, it's only been two people I've ever purchased a beat from in this life. The very first one is Matthew Williams.
Taxi Cab Confessions?
Huh?
Taxi Cab Confessions?
You already know what time it is, bro. Taxi Cab Confessions, dog. Like, that was, and if I'm not mistaken, I actually got 3 off of you that day. I met this motherfucker in the Panera Bread downtown. I think you threw me a little deal too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we was just tapped in on that level. I was like, you know, I wasn't making money like that, but it's like, if I'm serious about this shit, this the homie. It only makes sense to like compensate him for it. So I was happy to throw you that money for that shit, bro. Like that, like. I took that with me. I was like, now this shit is like, I didn't really put money towards this. I gotta like go crazy. Taxi Cab Confessions, another crazy song I'm talking about when I like first get home in the car, all kind of stuff. I I would never do any like content like that now because I was like what 19 or 20 when I like actually wrote that, and like it was just I was trying to like on my storytelling shit, like I wanted to like showcase that, but that's some shit I would never do at this point. Like being like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was how I felt at the time, but like I knew that like the beat that I had, like I had to like do some crazy shit on it, and it only made sense to the case for Mizza. But you was one person I bought beats off of, and then there was Bojack, and Bojack gave me some shit for the song Apollo 13. And when I went to record with him, like I said, they tapped in with the Insomniacs. Soul had come over there. This was like a year before he had lost his life, but it literally happened on the whim. Like I was over there trying to like touch up vocals, and like he used to always do this shit when we was out, but like he knew I was goofy on the internet. Like I said, there's pros and cons with it. Like, all the wild shit I would say on there. Some people were like it was entertaining and he was one of the people who was always like kind of praising that. And at the time I didn't really care. Like it was like, all right, that's like definitely cool, but like now, like seeing now it's like, all right, like I wouldn't expect him to call me on my bullshit because I didn't know him on that level. It was literally like social media and seeing him at shows, but it got to a point we was in there, bro. Like he literally looked over at me and was like, "Dope, like when we gonna make our song, bro?" And I'm like, "We can do that shit literally right now." Like found a fucking song, like fucking beat on YouTube. We was just like looking, just making some bullshit, but like going through beats and stuff, and we like heard the same one, and we looked at each other. We was like, "All right, this is the one, bro." And I remember like going in like kind of writing my verse, but not really. Like I had more that like was put on the song, but Soul got on there. He did the God Dude, Big Soul, One Room, Two Hoes, like just what, like just got in his pocket. And this is like this is the videographer of like another group. You feel me? Like he ain't supposed to be spazzing like this, but he was. He was like, bro, everybody doing this shit, I'm gonna go ahead and do this too. And it was cool that he brought me along for the ride. And we ended up getting Bad Finesse out of the deal. So like Bad Finesse is another one of the songs where like, who would ever think I'd be like, say just collabing with like a videographer on the song and like the shit being super tight. Like even to this day, like people used to love when I performed at the shows. Like Soul wasn't there to like perform it with me per se, but like they knew what time it was in the beat drop. And like I was happy to have songs like that. I'm like, man, these motherfuckers really showed up to my shows. Like they know the songs. Like it was crazy. Like I wasn't used to that. So like 2018 hit and I had all that. And like I know like motherfuckers don't like to like motherfuckers talking about old ass years like that old, like some people have stuff where they like that really go ahead, my bad.
That's what the episode's gonna be called. My bad. The episode's gonna be called 2018. I decided that.
You might as well, bro. That was like an explosive. Like it was so much going on, man, and like that was really when I realized that, man, like I could do this shit off the shit to like I was, like I said, I was saying wild shit in my songs. I didn't really, like, make it apparent to my parents to, like, yo, hey, I'm doing this. I was just happen to do it. My mom knew I liked music. Like, my dad, that was a big thing, he was on. Like, he loved music. So that stayed with me. And so, he found out I was doing shows, man. That motherfucker was pulling up to motherfucking everywhere to see my shit. Like, I'm talking about, like, this is, like, a man who just, like, used to be downtown so much, and he just happened to, like, just pull up and be there. Like he found out one of his sons was like doing music on that level. He was showing up. I ain't never have my dad to like pull up, to like no fucking like I wasn't doing no like little league basketball shit like that. Like back then, I was just straight up going to school. Like my dad and my mom had broke up when I was 7, so like I was like kind of deprived of that from him. But like he still was around for me like to like see him enough to like get enough of a good experience from seeing him. But
right.
That was when I realized, like, man, like, some kids got their dads full of say little league shit. Like, granted, it's, like, happening, like, way later in my life, but, like, I can actually now, like, I can actually, like, appreciate it now because I'm looking at it a whole differently, like, cognitive level. And yeah, my mom started pulling up to the shows. My sister, pregnant as hell with her daughter, she was showing up to the shows. And I was like, bro, I like can't like it's too good now. Like it's too like I really am doing this shit. And like pretty much I was doing those shows, but I was starting to get kind of burnt out because like I said, 2018 I wanted to have a show every month. Sometimes some of the months I had like it was like one of the months I had 3 different shows. I'm talking about like being double booked certain nights, like having to turn down shows with motherfuckers putting my name on the bill without my consent. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I was getting to that point with music, and I didn't think I'd ever get to that. And so I'm noticing, like, you know, I mentioned all these people that's coming to the shows. We also have, you know what I'm saying, real life shit going on. Motherfuckers have to go to work, some of us early in the morning. So if you telling me my set is like at 10 something and a motherfucker like me end up going towards midnight or sometimes 1, and now you want to make it a, oh yeah, you like the headliner. It's not a such thing as a fucking headliner in these shows. Everybody's on the same level pretty much, and we all trying to get our shit off. So you telling me going last and I'm the headliner, some patronizing shit. I got motherfuckers asking me all day, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, when you going on? When you going on? I can't give them a clear, concise answer. Like that shit was getting to me, dog. Like it was getting real unprofessional. Ain't no money. Ain't like there's no money, no shit behind this shit. But like, it's still a level. It's still a level of professionalism that we gotta upkeep for this. So like, I'm noticing the shows like motherfuckers is like bogarting their way to shows. So I started doing that. I'm like, I know I ain't on the book for these. I ain't on the bill for this. But I can at least do this song. I recorded Trisha Mackey one, like the day I recorded that song. The homie Advance had a show. That's another motherfucker who I was going to do shows for. He didn't always like promote it the best way, but it was another one of the things where, like I fucks with him heavy, and this is also practice for me. And it was one day where I got too big for my britches, and I was like, well, I know I ain't on the show, but let me go ahead and talk to Advance and at least like try to perform this one song. And I told him that, and he was like, yeah, you know, you can go ahead and do it, but like he was kind of like biting off more than he could chew as well, because the bill that he had, like motherfuckers still was not going to their right time because motherfuckers couldn't make it to the venue and all that. So it got to the point where I was like, you know what, bro, like I'm gonna go ahead and respectfully step from the show. And like he seemed disappointed, but not like salty. It was just like, you know, like I wasn't supposed to be on the bill anyway. I just want to muscle my way in because I've seen niggas in the past doing that. And like I didn't really want to get to that point. So like at that point I was like, all right, like I could just kind of take a step back. I was still recording stuff here and there, but like now it's to the point where it's like I need to have like a body of work. And I like started recording with Alan. I recorded with like I said, Mal High Vega and them, and a lot of stuff that I got is like still not released just because like I'm like on some, I want to put it on this tape, but y'all might have to get that soon. And another reason I'm like, I know I'm like kind of like all over the place with this 2018 shit, but this like one of the bigger shows of that year. So Arts on the Ave was raked in before the fact. And before it was raked in,
Arts on the Ave.
Yeah, shout out Arts on the Ave. I mean, me personally, I liked when it was raked in because it was more rough and just kind of like, I don't know, it was kind of an anything goes kind of thing, and like it should have been for that area, but like it's become something. It's like more polished now, like under.
Yeah, that everything goes wasn't inviting.
You said everything goes with the rakes there.
Yeah, it wasn't that inviting. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like it looked like people would just stand in there and pee. That's what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? Like
This is true.
At least with Arts on the Ave, it's like the dark corners are now lit up. You know what I'm saying? It feels safer.
Yeah, man. Like I don't know. It looked nicer in there for sure. For me, I wanted to be in like different environments, but it was real bare bones in there, as Rick said. But a long time ago before that, I'm pretty sure it was a place called Queen Anne's, like back in like the early 2000s. And I had a cousin of mine. This is like the first like murders I ever had in my family. But my cousin Manny, he unfortunately got killed there back in '02. This like I'm like 8 at this point, so like you know I'm not used to like I just seen this motherfucker like before he got killed. So like it was hard to kind of like swallow that like you know he's not gonna be here like anymore. Like it was tough. It was even to this day I think about like when I hear it like like my mom had to like tell us about it. She was hysterical, you know what I'm saying? But this is a motherfucker we saw like every week just gone. And so I learned about Rakeston and where it was. And so I vowed like every point then like if I had a show, no matter how rinky dink it was in there, I was gonna give motherfuckers a show that they could like remember each time. I had to make it count. And so there was another show when it was Arsenal after Mile High and them had. It was like the tournament bracket, and we talking about like even now, like motherfuckers on there who were like still popping now. Some people kind of fell off. Me included. I wouldn't say like kind of like really. I guess you'd call it falling off. I don't know. Whenever somebody's taking time to do their own shit, like, and they can easily get back into it, I wouldn't necessarily call it that shit. But it is what it is. Some people just kind of quiet now. That's what we'll say. We'll call them quiet. But I'm like talking about like literally like doing promos for the show, like trying to like get over the fact that like we all homies, but it's a competition aspect, and I ain't never been tapped into this level, man. I'm talking about like I'm always the type of motherfucker who want to help the other person get to their shit. Like I want to help you on your journey. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm cool playing the back seat. This is one of the times where I was like, bro, fuck all that shit. This is mine, bro. Like, I don't ever win shit. I don't ever be performing on that level. Like, this is mine, bro. And so, you had A4P on the bill, Chris Crooks. You had fucking Vegas, who also was in those sessions with me and Bojack and Insomniac. So, Papa Gora, who's fucking going crazy right now. Like, Papa Gora is on an insane run. Shouts out to dude. And then, who else on there? Koozie Warhol. It was like eight different acts, but it ended up being me and Chris Crooks at the very end, and like we did our songs back and forth, and the audience was split. Like obviously we both homies, so like it's gonna be like kind of the same. Like all right, I want him to win, but it's also him. But I ended up getting the victory over him. Matter of fact, a person I'm forgetting to mention, Maja Bam, dog. Maja Bam was the kind of the crown holder. He already had the belt. He had won the last competition. And I remember telling him at the show, I'm like, look, bro, I had the aforementioned bag on me. I had the statue with whatever you needed in there. Fanene was in there too. But I remember going to him, I was like, look, bro, I got this briefcase. This is the Money in the Bank briefcase, bro. Like, I'm looking you dead in your face. I'm taking that belt. Like, I don't give a fuck. And like I said, it's still a matter of camaraderie, but like I meant everything I said that night. Like I leveling up. They had me and Bam go off first, like go against each other first, which I think they should have saved that because, he was still the champion at the time. But like literally then, like we did our set. They did it by crowd vote. Motherfuckers voted for me. I got Bam up out of there instantly, so he already ain't had the belt. Then the next round it was me and Alan for president. I did Trisha Mackey. He knew how good the fucking song was. Like I got him out of there with that. It's real fact. Like Alan knew how good that song was, so I was like, bro, if I'm gonna go against him, I already got it. Like we already got like our songs like kind of mapped out for each round. But I was like, it's only right that it be me and Alan not play this song for him. And he knew as soon as I like played the shit down, he knew it was like, oh yeah, it's got to be you. So I ended up taking out Alan in that round. I'm like, oh, I'm really up here. Like this is kind of nuts. Like. Because we already, like I said, we already know each other. We cool, but it's still like, oh, I'm actually really advancing in the shit. Like, but yeah, the last round it literally was up to me and Chris Crooks. We did our shit, and they like ended up putting the belt on me, and that was it, bro. We talking about 2018. I still got that motherfucking belt. We talking about zero defenses, bro. Like I've never ever put the title on the line after that. Just was like we had no. We wasn't able to have like a follow-up show after that, but like that was one of them shows. I'm like, bro, I'm at Rake 10 or Arsenal Ave at the time. I'm over here, just what I'm saying. I'm on a crazy ass run. I had to like let these motherfuckers know I really do this shit. And unfortunately, my parents couldn't be at that one, which is one. That is like the only regret I can have about like me performing because, like I said, my dad passed away back in March. And that was like my main like supporter outside of the homies like about the music shit. Like he was really like he was just excited to be there. He had this old ass phone that he used to record my shit on, like always back to the
R.P. Papa Dude.
Nah, man, real R.P. Papa Dude. Like Papa Dude loved to see the homies out in that shit. Like he was really happy to be like to belong to something. And I wish he would have been at that show when I got the belt. But that another thing was. That show did run kind of late. We doing multiple sets. Like, motherfuckers end up leaving damn near like 2. I'm like, in hindsight, I'm like, I'm kind of happy he had to be in this shit because he probably would have left before the most, like, critical part. And, like, rightfully so. Like, you can't have shows that late. But
Right.
That was
Especially
a
in
crazy
Cincinnati.
year, man. Huh?
So especially in Cincinnati, man, people like to go to bed, man.
People would like to go to motherfucking bed. I don't know why motherfuckers think this Atlanta and shit. We up here for it. Like I remember doing that shit. I can't imagine doing that shit now, bro. People got shit to get to, bro. So yeah, that was a lot. Like it was a lot that like I was able to do after the podcast that I was proud of, and I always wanted to be that way because like the podcast was very nice, and I was happy to have such a like hand in, you know, not really, I guess you could say catapulting people to like do their thing, but you know everybody's looking for some kind of representation when they doing their shit, and I was happy to give people that, but. Shit, it was time for me to do my thing too, baby. God, mama gotta have a life too. Shit, whatever the fuck she said on Baby Boy, mama gotta have fun too. Jody, mama. Shout out Tyrese. Throw in the towel.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I'm happy to like, you know, I know I've like said a lot on this podcast. I'm looking at the time now. Like I had to give y'all a lot because Mizza is somebody I haven't talked to in a lot of years, and
Yeah,
that's just how it is. Like, I have a lot to give Mizza, but it was one of the things where like I like doing the podcast, and I was happy to like not have to prepare for that anymore. And I just want I got shit I got going on too. You know what I mean? Like my co-host, he had shit he had going on too. So like it was I appreciate everything that you did like contributing to it because you was a real fan of it, bro. Like literally got a Mizza award. I like get on Facebook. I'm like, yo. What motherfuckers recognizing and shit? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was good. Like, and granted, like, it ain't like I'm like getting an Emmy or nothing, but I didn't really give a fuck about no Emmy or no shit like that. Like, I had like one of my like, you know, people that I really look up to artistically, like, recognize me and was showing me that support from day one, and it was like, it kind of solidified. I was like, you know, like. People know about the podcast. People know, like, you know, we don't even live here, boys. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. Shit like that. You always want to hear from your homies, like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to lose sight of what your homies do. You got so much shit going on, but you was always watching, man. I appreciate you to death for that, dog.
Oh man, I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, it was. I definitely prioritized getting on that show in my life at a point in time. Like, gotta get on the show. Talk to these guys. Got to.
You've been on there more times than anybody.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I think this is a good point right here to wrap up this one. But if you want to come back and chat some more, you're definitely welcome.
Listen, man, I'm gonna always do that. I mean, it was a time I didn't even know where you was like actually at. I'm like, yo, where I'm gonna meet you at for this shit? You like, man, I'm a whole other state. I ain't fucking with that shit. I fucks with it. Shit, fuck it. It's fucked up here anyway. But like, anytime you need that, man, I would gladly do this, man. Like, it's just. I be missing niggas, man, you know what I'm saying? So you one of the people who I be wondering, like, what is the deal? But I've also been a person who, like, you know what I'm saying, they got their stuff going on, I got mine going on. I never really, like, necessarily needed to check on anybody because, like, it seemed like a practical thing, but then again, it's not. Like, we only got 24 hours in a day, but I'm glad to, like, hear you, dog. Like, I was playing the voice memos in the car when you sent them, and I was like, yo, like, listen how clean this motherfucker voice is, man. Like, I ain't heard that in a minute, man. That shit, I needed it. I needed it, bro. Before we go off the air, too, I just want to go ahead and say, on the record, Mizza as Matt Six Wave was definitely something for the books. And he noticed, too, but everybody else he noticed, I definitely got it into one of the Matt Six Wave songs. That's just how bad this motherfucker was back in the day. I fucked with you, dog.
Hey,
you can't
man,
call yourself sex wave and not partake in it when it's on, bro. That's all I'm saying. You feel me? So you did that shit.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. That's a good testimony. I didn't know the people who was actually out here getting busy to the sex wave.
Yeah, nigga. We ain't fucking around, bro.
Well, you are, but.
Yeah, this is true. I can only make love to so many gunshots and police sirens in the back. I gotta slow it down sometimes. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, we out here, bro.
You feel me? But yes, sir, man. It definitely was good to hear you. We gonna chat some more in real life because we ain't fully catch up. But Appreciate you coming through. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Lavender Water Podcast. I have been your host, Matthew Williams, and this has been my guest, God Dude. We appreciate y'all out there in TV podcast land, and catch us next time. Peace.
Ow.